Welcome back to this video. In this video we look at a question related to circle theorems. Here again, this is a tough question. It comes in the optional section in paper 2, optional questions. The question related to circle theorems carries a total of 15 marks, but most students, 85 to 90% of the students who write the exam, get less than 5 marks for this question. So if you can get full marks for this question, you're on your way to getting top grades in mathematics. So you need to know not only what is a theorem and what is a circle, what are the properties of circles, or what is a theorem, what are the different types of theorems related to circles, and so on. You need to know the principles and the rules and how to apply those principles to solving problems related to circle theorems. You need to know where to use the principle or which theorems to use, where and when. Unfortunately, in most schools they don't teach you these four. They tell you what to learn, but they don't teach you how to learn it, where to apply it, and when to apply it, and so on. Click and Learn provides you with that. The question related to circle theorems. You need to understand the problem, devise a plan, carry out the plan, and look back. Now there are 7 must-ask questions to solve any math problem, and problems related to circle theorems are no different. You need to ask yourself these 7 must-ask questions that will bust the problem, break it up, so you can solve it step by step. The best way to solve a problem is to break it into smaller problems and smaller pieces. How do you eat a sandwich? Well, one bite at a time. So, look at this diagram here. Which theorem do you think applies to this diagram here? What does this diagram show? Do you understand it? Well, this is just to trigger your memory. You need to ask yourself questions. What are the givens? Do I understand the implications? What were the givens in that diagram? Have a look back and see. What are the givens? What are the givens here? You need to identify all the givens in this diagram. What are the unknowns? What are the operations involved, and so on? What does the answer look like? All these questions you need to ask yourself consciously when you're working on a math problem. Can I apply a similar approach to this problem? Can I solve a part of the problem? You note I'm not asking you to cram any stuff. I'm asking you to generate questions and answer those questions for yourself. Now, what the CSEC examiners are testing in problems relating to circle theorems, you need to know the 5 most important concepts in circle theorems, or 6 or 7. Write them down. Write down the question, which is the first, which is the second, and so on. Remember, the examiners are testing your knowledge first of circle theorems. What is the first theorem? What's the second theorem? What it says, and so on. Then it tests your skills. The examiners are testing your skills at applying what you know to solving a particular problem. It's testing your competencies in applying those principles to different problems. So ask yourself, what mnemonic device can you use to store information on circle theorems? How can you transfer your knowledge of circle theorems into your long-term memory so that you can recall it quickly and accurately come exam time or test time? You start by asking yourself low-order questions. What is a circle theorem? What's a circle? What's a theorem? What's the first circle theorem? What does it state? Now, what is a theorem in mathematics? A theorem is a statement that has been proved on the basis of previously established statements. What's a theorem? What's the general principle of a circle theorem? and so on. When you do that, write out the questions and answers, you're on your way to getting good marks. What are the parts of a theorem? Now, what does a circle theorem predict? For example, the first circle theorem, what does it state? And what does it predict? What are the different circle theorems? How many are they? What types of problems can be solved using circle theorems? Now, then you ask yourself higher order questions. Higher order questions usually take the form of how questions, or when and where can I use circle theorems to solve a problem? Can you answer that? Remember, you have full control over this video. You can pause the video anytime and write down the questions and ask yourself questions and answers and so on. Look, search for the answers. How do I use circle theorems in a given situation? And more. Now you have the tools to be able to apply them. Excuse. And so get top grades. Caribbean Exams Coach gives you all the information you need, the strategies and powerful science-backed strategies for mastering the concepts in mathematics.